gone to bed alone. Never.
Oh, that's sweet.
And Evelyn, you told me that the days are counted. It's gonna end soon.
Yeah, it's counted. It's counted, but I mean, it's not. You're not alone. You're there. So there's a difference. They're not like physically in another part of the house. They're like often right there. But that's a very sweet thing.
Yeah, I wish that was my life. That I don't go to bed ever alone. That would be great.
I honestly, hey everybody, hey, we're talking about going to bed. We're talking about going to bed alone or not. If you're somebody that likes going to bed alone, type it in. If you're not, type it in. Share it with us.
I don't want to be alone tonight. Hi, baby. Don't leave me here for the night. Do. All right. So where's that from? Extra cool points if you know where that's from.
Ooh. I don't know.
Extra cool points. You can get our early bird rate.
Don't leave me here for the night. Do. La, baby. All right, well, hold on. I should do the reenactment. Boom. Even though I look like Tina Belcher.
No, I'm like, bust it.
Love. So Angela Molina loves being alone. Alicia Davis, alone every night. Brittany Solo, I love to freeze when I'm sleeping.
Brittany!
All
Brittany,
right.
Ding.
The corn. I do not like sleeping alone.
You don't like sleeping alone?
I sleep better with people. That sounds
people. Hold on.
People?
She said people.
Wait, hold on. Let me get my shades and my lipstick on because this sounds like a juicy ass conversation. Wait a minute.
She said people.
People.
It's not juicy at all.
Wait a minute.
People like such as my grandmother or my husband or my sister. Like there's those three people I sleep very well, very good next to. My grandma especially.
Okay.
And my grandma's like my girl.
I thought this was gonna get spicy. I was like, this is Radio Caña Negra after dark. This is
more than two people in the bed. That's torture. Come on.
That's a lot of people.
It depends on who you're talking about or what you're doing.
I've never slept with more than one person in the bed. Oh, outside. So there was a point where the four of us were sleeping on a full-size bed. It got really ridiculous that we just could not anymore.
A full size?
A full-size bed. It was two adults, a toddler, and a 3-4 month year-old, a 3-month-old. But that was a lot.
It happens.
That was like at the edge of the bed.
Like windmills when they sleep. Like they are like next thing you know, there's toes in your nose. Like you just.
I just couldn't. We just couldn't. But I used to sleep with my grandmother. I slept with my brother for a long time, for years, and then I slept with myself on one of the small beds, like a cot, like a small bed, and I liked that. And then I was upgraded to a twin size bed, I guess, by myself, and I slept like that for a long time until. Yes.
Yeah, that's Dash and Evelyn. Why do we have meeting with Dash and Evelyn?
We're on a live on Facebook. Good night.
Oh, we're in Panama, by the way.
Okay, bye. Okay, this is work. Bye. They're supposed to be going to bed alone.
She was like,
you gave him the stiff arm.
But yeah, and then I didn't discover a full size bed until after I was married and divorced.
Wait a minute. So wait, when you were married,
I was on a full size bed.
Okay. Yeah.
Right, but then I was sharing with somebody.
Right.
With my husband. And then when I got divorced and I moved out alone, and and I got myself a full-size bed, I was like, I can't ever go back to a twin-size bed ever.
Yes.
In my life. And I can't go back to sleeping with somebody. Well, outside of like a partner or husband.
Right. Yeah. You know what? I was probably in my like, how old was I? I was like in my mid-20s, I think, when I had a full bed to myself for the first time. And I remember being like, wow. And even now we have a queen, like a kind of like a queen size bed. But every once in a while, you know, you go to a hotel and you're like in a king size. And I'm like on the one side of the bed, like, hello, low. It's you all the way over there. I don't have a problem with sleeping by myself or sleeping with somebody else. I like to, I am a side stomach sleeper. So I'm not as much of a cuddler. I will say that. So I like to, when I'm ready to go to sleep, like,
don't touch me.
Like I need stiff arm. Like I need to be like, let me get this in. Let me get these hours of sleep in.
Yeah, everyone's like that, no?
No. I think some people like to be curled and cuddled all night. I am not that type of girl.
No. My son is a cuddler all night long.
All night long.
You know what? Sen was like that when he was little too, and then it kind of, it kind of faded away. So there was, I mean, now he sleeps.
We lost him. That was abrupt too.
Right. I was thinking of when you were saying the twin bed, Yuko and I used to sleep on a twin like foam in Cuba.
And that's what I had in Panama growing up, like a twin thick foam.
Like this. And I'm not a little girl. You know, I have some girth, some meat to me, even though Yuko's he's slim. I don't know how we slept on that, but we did that for a good 6 months. And then I was never again.
Slept on a twin?
A twin foam.
Twin foam.
Wait, what?
In Cuba.
Well,
like there's like beds aren't. I mean,
I didn't have a mattress though until I was an adult though. I had a foam, a thick foam too though, that you could pick out. And when I used to get mad, I used to pick it out.
Oh, this one is just a flat foam, like just one uniform piece of foam.
Yeah, but you could pick out. Like, isn't it the kind of foam that you could like slowly like pick out? Like if you didn't put the bedspread on it, the sheet on it, you could with your nails you could pick out.
You'd be ripping your own bed.
Yeah, because I was a child.
You ripped your own bed.
Yeah, because you were a child.
Yeah.
I wasn't an adult. I was a child.
I can certainly see that. Out of like frustration, like there's lots of things that you do when you're a kid that you do because you don't have recourse, right? Like you don't have what you gonna if somebody pisses you off, what you gonna do? Our kids would tell us,
my bed.
You upset me, but I would just be like ripping stuff. I mean, I used to like, I guess nowadays they probably will call it like harming oneself, right? But like I remember that I used to like scratch my legs, like because that was like my way of like releasing some sort of tension. There's also that. Somebody said I've picked as an adult. Like there's lots of things. Right now, what I'm picking is these damn chin hairs that have been like wild. Shout out to everybody out there who got chin hairs. Like, what is this? Shit is disrespectful.
Old age, me.
No, old age. And you know what? I got a gray eyebrow hair. So weird.
And they're thick and long.
I'm like, how?
Was that recent that you got the gray eyebrow hair?
I'm telling you, I think it's been through this COVID climate era that my body is aging like a fucking banana.
Still, because you said that in the beginning of the quarantine. I'm like, wait, are we slowing down the banana aging yet? Or
no.
Oh no, we keep losing. Evelyn, okay? You're back.
Yeah, I'm back. I had to change the like Wi-Fi thing, but yeah. No, I'm still aging like a banana, child. I'm still aging like a banana. It's out here. I have this.
Well, bananas get sweet as they age, so
Yeah.
I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to Evelyn.
That's why.
Aging, so.
That's why my my all of my social handles are ripeness. Because seriously. So did I ever tell y'all the story about how some cat tried to play me and called me old? And this was like years and years ago. And I was like, I'm not old, I'm ripe. And he was like, yeah, like whatever. And I was just like,
but who was this that tried to play you?
Some fool that I fancied myself having strong feelings for, but he didn't deserve me.
And he said that to you?
Yeah. He's like, oh. And I was just like, so that, you know what, sometimes like, and I mean, you know, maybe other people out there have had the same situation, but you ever been fucking somebody that didn't like you? Like they would have sex with you, but they didn't like you as a person. Like you don't realize that later, right? Because that's a very real thing, right? And so I realized that I was having sex with someone who did not really like me or have, right? And it wasn't until after all of that happened that I realized like, oh, you don't really like me. Like you don't value me as a person. And so I think that two things happened. One, I had to recognize it. And then two, I had to act on it. Because there's a part of your life, I think, especially for a lot of, you know, female-bodied people, like whatever, where you try to convince somebody of something. And then you realize that that's not your job. To be able to like convince someone of something. And so like there is, yes, Alicia says, it's hard to understand that when you're in it. Absolutely. Because you're like, oh, if I just do this, then they'll see me like that. And then you kind of one day you realize like, no, sis, they don't really like you. Right. Yeah. And that's it's hurtful, but it's also liberating because I think that there's a difference between the day that you know something and the day that you accept it. And so accept it, now you're forced to like act on it.
Now you can decide what to do with the information.
Exactly. And so, right. And so like that kind of thing, it was always like in my head, but I was just like, oh, maybe if I say, maybe if I do. And I was just like, until I acted on it, I realized that we probably could have had sex till the end of time. Right.
And nothing was going to change.
And nothing was going to change. And nothing changed until I did. So there was that. And so I think that, you know, as we start to have this conversation today, what y'all thinking in the chat? Like lots of things about cuddling people, who you're gonna cuddle with, and maybe this impacts the way that I also approach everything in that space.
You know, a sad lesson that I learned was when it came to dating men, and I only dated men. I've never dated outside of men. Was that entire thing of like they're never gonna find a better woman than me, and that was a hard one because they're never gonna see one comparing yourself to other people, right? Number one was like something really hard that I didn't understand until later on. It's like, why was I wasting my time doing that?
Listen,
and putting myself to those positions and category, like trying to compete with other sisters,
yes,
for worthiness, you know. And that was when I was like in early 20s, right? Like I'm the best. You're never gonna get another person as good as me. And having to like even go through that mental exercise, and this person is not even worth it
at all. Right?
Oh,
yeah, and it's like that's the space, and I'm grateful that it happened. I think when it did, because that really was able to like influence and impact the way that I showed up in subsequent relationships. Where I was like, oh, you want me to fight over you? Nah, I'm out. Like, not gonna happen. You know, and I'm very comfortable with that stance, right? Like where it's just like, I'm not doing any convincing anymore. The only person I need to convince is myself.
Right. Yeah. I almost left my parents' house once for this guy.
Oh, this is good, girl.
Right? Oh my goodness, these children. And when I almost made that decision, fuera de aquí, por favor. When I almost, what stopped me from making that decision was when he wanted me to look at this one bedroom to share with a dog.
Wait, what?
Exactly. I was like, I'm gonna leave this 3-bedroom house, and you want me to share a 1-bedroom with like this big dog
with an animal?
And I was like, my dad might be right about you.
That is, yeah.
Right? But I was like fighting my father over this dude. Like fighting him and like, no, that my dad is like, you know what? Váyase. But don't ask me for nothing. And I was like, I don't have to ask you for nothing. And then we start looking for places. And then he's like, and the dog is gonna, and I was like, what? Because he had a massive dog. I was like, dog's not coming. He's like, yes, it is. And I was like, oh.
Well, I'm not coming.
Right. Choose. And I think that, wait, hold on. So there's some, and that's important, right? That just the recognition of when somebody who loves you is right. That's also really difficult. Angela Molina says in the chat, been there. Comparison is the thief of joy. The beauty of getting older is wisdom. Sometimes, right? Hopefully. And that you get to act on it. And Alicia Davis says in the chat, the pandemic has stopped me from making a lot of mistakes. It's given me the necessary contemplation time. Brittany shares, I spent so much time trying to convince guys how great I was as a girlfriend. I cook and clean, that I never took the time to see if we were compatible. Right. It took me a while to see that it's not about what I can do, but how it is that we are together. And I would also say that I would add that I would just, like say that as a plus size woman, I also had to undo a lot of the beliefs that I had about the way that I was supposed to show up. Right. That like there was something that I felt like I had to be just different, right? Because there is a seed that is planted about the way that you're supposed to show up and like this kind of inherent competitiveness that you have, right? Like I'm the baddest bitch in the planet. Like I'm the whatever. And so like that seed of competition is planted and it takes some intentional work to unlearn that and to be able to show up. And, Brittany, you make a beautiful point because I think that it also says that like, just because you want to be compatible for somebody else doesn't mean that they are willing to do that work to be compatible for you. Right. And also giving somebody the space to do the work so that they can be compatible for you, I think is really also critical because there's also unlearning that has to happen there. Like in my current relationship, I wanted it so bad at the beginning that I felt like in retrospect, I can see where there's elements where I did not give this brother a chance to breathe because I was just like, I want it. It says something about me if you're in my life. I had just come off of like a really heartbreaking breakup and I wanted it so bad. And it took me a few years to realize that like fall the fuck back so he can show you what he's about to. And that took intentional unlearning on my part. Because there also is, depending on where you are and like where you stand and where you land, there's pockets of power in a relationship. If you got more money than your spouse, you got power, right? If you got more something than your spouse, you got power. And so like having to do the work to remove yourself from those societal pockets of power it takes some effort.
Yeah. That was a big learning curve in my relationship because I am not going to cook or clean ever, and so that was hard for my husband to accept that I cook and clean when I feel like, not out of duty, because I like working out of the house, and so the good thing is that he likes to cook. And I was just talking to him and I was like, I need you to be here so that you can cook. And he's like, see, that's why, I knew I was the slave, right? And I'm like, no, don't say that. You're not the slave. We say enslaved. So we don't call people slaves. And so I'm looking forward for him to come so that I don't have to worry about cooking or shopping, because he likes to eat. So he's like, I need to know how to cook. And so he actually enjoys it. He likes making the beans. He likes making the meat. I disinfect it and I clean it and I season it because I like it a certain way. I have a particular way with that. And then he makes it, and all of the sides and the salad and the avocado and like everything else. So it's always good because he's very intentional in eating and feeding me.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was a time where I was in Cuba and I was not eating for months. And basically my immune system shut down. Mm-hmm. And so when he saw that, he started like actually physically feeding me, because I was just like, I don't want any of this food. Like the food in Cuba is not good. And so, me being particular, I'm like, I'd rather just not eat. And so that's what happened. And so like he got into the habit of, because he wakes up earlier than I do, like on any day. He's an early riser, and he'll make breakfast and literally like feed me in bed, because he's like, if you eat at no other time during the day, at least you ate like breakfast within my sight, so I know that you're alive at least, right? So I'm looking forward to that, because the Instant Pot has been my savior, though. I'll say the Instant Pot, and I'm trying to get to know the air fryer, because everybody is raving about the air fryer.
Yeah. Shout out to the air fryer. I have an air fryer and an Instapot and a crock pot, all the things. I like to cook. So I don't have a problem with cooking. And I think that it's really like, it's so important, going back to Brittany's point about really identifying what it is that you need and how it is that you need to show up, or how it is that you want to show up in any type of relationship, and working with a partner that wants to have like duties based on interest and sometimes need, and who can be flexible within that too. Because as much as I like to cook, that don't mean I want to cook forever and every single day and every single meal. Sometimes I'm just like, it's on you, Playboy. And whether that means that that's Uber Eats or you put your apron on and keep going.
Do you have an apron?
Yeah.
I have an apron too.
Yeah.
We have aprons in the house. I honestly think that within and I wouldn't even say only relationships, within any form of house, right? Or relationships, but it doesn't have to be romantic or marital. It could be friendships too. Any relationships where people live or share space. All those negotiations have to be grounded in equity.
Yes.
And it's not only like you do this and you do that. Those discussions, conversations have to be grounded in equity, and they're in contributions, right? So it's not only like you do this, I do that. They have to be grounded in what are your likes, dislikes, what do you feel that you bring, and where do you shine? So there is no, I feel that Omar, my husband, partner, life partner, and I, we have, a lot of we've actually had these conversations at length, in regards to, Evelyn knows, and people that are here, like Claudia, that I see, Claudia Copeland, they know that the conversations that Omar and I had in regards to like my body, right? My body and my contribution to the household. I birthed 2 children and I breastfed my 2 children, right? Who are Omar's 2 children as well. But he didn't go through that, right? So I don't do dishes in my house. And I probably will never do dishes in my house. And that is something that we had a conversation about. We openly had a conversation about the deterioration that my body went through in that one particular piece, which was breastfeeding. the lack of this, and what I felt I could, not that dishwashing was going to compensate the loss in the deterioro. The English word doesn't sound as good or as dramatic as the Spanish word does. But the loss of everything that my body went through and breastfeeding I breastfed my son for 2.5 years and my daughter for 4 years, right? And I tandem breastfed. So there's this piece around breastfeeding alone that I'm never going to recuperate.
Right. There's
Ever.
the weathering that your body takes with pregnancy, right? That you just cannot undo. Not to mention the fact that you're not just pregnant, but you're pregnant as a Black person in the United States, like all the things. So,
correct. But we're not even, we didn't even count pregnancy. We're only counting breastfeeding. In the dishwashing piece, we only counted breastfeeding. So that conversation was only grounded in breastfeeding, right? That's how specific that conversation was around dishwashing, right? So the pregnancy, we haven't even spoken about that. Like the dishwashing for me was always around breastfeeding, and it was specifically because after we had dinner, I was breastfeeding, and during dinner we were breastfeeding. I was breastfeeding, right? So while he was dishwashing, my hands were always occupied, so I just physically couldn't wash the dishes. And he said once, and this is how the conversation started. He said, "I can't wait till you're done breastfeeding so you can wash the dishes." And then that spun the conversation around, oh, I don't think I'm ever going to wash dishes. And that's when the conversation started. And because he's the kind of man that he is, and I have to give him this, he is open to having these conversations. Not every man is.
Round of applause for Omar.
Not every man is, because another man would have been like,
yeah,
hell no. And I know this. Another man would have been like, that ain't gonna fly here. He was like, I hear that, because it's about taking vitamins and da. And he's paid in full. He's paid in full in regards to the benefits that potentially, right, the children have had for the rest of their lives through breastfeeding. Right? So I will not have to do dishes in my house at that level. Now we have a dishwasher, right? So he has a bonus there, but the expectation that I'm going to do dishes will never be there for me. So yeah, those are conversations that have to happen, and they're grounded in equity. And there's so many other things, but the discussion has to be there. And that goes for friendships, in my opinion. It goes for business partnerships. It goes for any form of relationships that are out there in regards to how do we divide up work? How do we divide up things? It happens with my children. There's an age difference, but like the house contributions, there's a difference between recycling and taking out the garbage. Who's going to do it? What's your size? What's your weight? Okay, this is going to happen. Who's going to do it? Yeah. And I feel like we have to engage in these conversations since we're small. Otherwise, I think it comes to a stop and a halt, and society doesn't move in an equity lens. I'll pause there.
Yeah. And I think that it also is important to really reflect on this periodically, right? Because what I may want to do in January is not what I want to do in June.
Yes.
And so I deserve to have a chance to grow in this relationship and to be able to say, like, now, based on whatever I'm taking on in my life or my personal goals, I may not be able to show up in this way, right? So just being able to have that conversation. Brittany says in the chat, I love the idea of creating rules for your relationship. There should be no cookie cutter relationships, and people need to be more open-minded about creating lifestyles that work for you. I'm single, but I know that what works for other people will not work for me in a relationship. Absolutely. We are in commitment, and Flor shares. Shout out to Flor. Hey, I feel this so much. The physical exhaustion and additional commitments is very wearing on our bodies, mentally, physically, and even spiritually. So yeah, right. It takes away or it impacts the way that we can show up for ourselves and for people who we love, if we feel like it's not grounded in equity. And so what would you say, Janvieve, are the some pieces, some strategies that people need. Like when you engage in these conversations, and granted, you and I might have some time where you have had, but like where you've learned each other, so you can also have certain types of relationships. But not everybody, even if you're in any kind of relationship that you're in, you sometimes people can have a difficult time leaning into conversations where there can be tension points. And unfortunately, what happens, I think, a lot of the time is that people only do it when they're angry, and then it comes out as anger. Like, what would you say is a strategy that people can utilize to be able to do it out of like neutrality and objectivity, if that is possible?
As you were speaking, I was like, let me not confuse people. Omar and I have this like wonderful harmonious relationship where things are perfect because we have a fight, right? I want to make that clear. And Dash and Evelyn and some of the folks here in the chat, they hear a lot of discordia that happens in any relationship, and Omar and I are no different. So I just want people to know that we are real human beings made out of flesh, of blood and flesh, carne y hueso, right? And that is a real part. I think scheduling time to have conversations is important. Scheduling time to have difficult conversations is always important, and having what your point is clear is important, because sometimes I go into conversations and not having my point clear, but what I have clear is that I want to argue, and that's real.
That's very real. Sometimes you don't want to solve the issue, you just want to be right.
Yes.
And I think that it helps to have real strong boundaries. So for example, for me, I don't do silent treatment. If you are upset and you stop speaking to me, that's it. Like, my presence is a present. So whoever the fuck you are, if you stop speaking to me and you salty about something, stay salty, stay mad, because that's just my thing. Like, when you're ready to come back, I'm not going to receive you openly. But if you want to have that, like, if you want to hash it out, and there's a difference between being like, I need a moment to reflect on this, Ev, let me go away, versus like, I'm just going to give you the silent treatment. Like, that just does not fundamentally work for me. And it makes me have mistrust. So when I have relationships with people, whoever they are, right? If they're comfortable stopping speaking to me, then that lets me know that they don't prioritize me, because urgency is my love language. Like that. So it's like, so I feel what you're saying so deeply, because I feel like there have to be boundaries to like the engagement in order for it to be as fruitful as we want it to be.
Yeah.
For me, I think we do humor. We do humor a lot for like the tough, or I guess those questions, because I mean, y'all know me, you've met Yuko, we're both clowns. And so we tend to go on the side of like laughing about it, or like in moments, like we make it into a joke, but then it leads into the serious conversations. Like Yuko has this habit again, thinking that domestic labor is of duty for women, right? And I'm like, no. And so I remember one night we had a 2-story apartment, and it was like, I don't know, 1 a.m., midnight, it was late. And it was after a tour. I was beat down, exhausted. I think Yuko was at a drum ceremony, so he had more energy. And so I'm, falling asleep. And then he's like, Dash, can you warm me up some food? And I started laughing. I'm like, and we both started laughing. And we had a short conversation about it. And now he does that sometimes, but he knows it's like to make me laugh, like because he goes to sleep at 3 a.m. So he'll eat at midnight. At midnight, I'm under the covers. Like the kitchen is closed, everything is closed down. But he'll make a meal at midnight. And I'm like, that's not how I operate, So you're on your own. Like, don't involve me in this. And so, he'll be like, oh, can you warm up this food at 2 a.m.? Bruh, I'm sleeping. And so like, we made it into a joke, and now it's like an inside joke between us, like when he wants like a laugh or whatever, he'll be like, puedes calentarme la comida? And then we just bust out laughing because he knows I'm not going to do it.
And it takes time sometimes too, I think, to learn how to really like have these conversations in peace, right? Like it takes time and it takes like some level of feeling like you're in that pocket in a relationship. Alicia Davis says, I like the idea of centering equity and not equality. Hell yeah, right?
Yeah. And then Claudia points out, I think equity in Black hetero relationships have to center that women have to take up space. Yes. And that right there,
that women know how to take up space.
Yes. That right there for me is a big one. And I say that because I think most Black women can be like, I am a very intense person, and I do not let, especially men, walk over me, right? And anything that could feel a little bit walking over me, I am like, right? So Omar understands that, and yet I feel like he will try it. I don't think he'll try to walk over me. I don't think he'll try to walk over me. I think it's just like a normal patriarchal thing, like routine kind of thing, right? And then so when I heard Dash with the humor, I was like, oh, see, but that work with me, because for me it's like, for me it's not funny, right? For me it's not funny, right? So because for me it's like, for me it would be like, can you heat this up? What did you say? You don't think I'm tired? We're both together. What are you saying?
But for me, that's so outrageous. I have to laugh in your face.
I'll be like, did you not see both kids climbing over me while you were sitting there eating your ice cream? Right. So for me, it will be that. I'll be so for me, it will be like, why are you trying this with me right now? So for me, it will be like that. And then it will turn into like really nasty sarcasm, and then it will turn into a really bad argument. So,
well, that escalated quickly.
Right, like
exactly. So for me, and then I'll be like, but I think I'm really funny. Because Omar might be like, wow, it's not that serious. I'll be like, oh, because you don't think I'm funny. But everybody thinks I'm funny. I'm pretty hilarious. Oh, you think it's funny? So I think it could go like really sour really fast.
And then he's like, see, tears, see.
And then Yubran will be sitting there, and Ayansi will be sitting there. Yeah. And they will both be like, I don't know what happened. We just had so much fun.
You know what? I think it all depends too, because I would probably heat it up. I'm not even gonna lie. I would get up and I would heat it up. And it depends on the day, right? Because some days I might just be like, fuck it. I know that you would do it for me if I needed it, right? So there's also that quid pro quo depending on the relationship. I have no problem doing things because I know I have confidence that like when I need something that I can ask him and he'll probably do it. But then there will be the space of if somebody pissed me off, nobody's enjoying that meal because I will heat it up for you. And when I bring it the fuck back, I'll be like, let me tell you something, motherfucker. Because that would be the preliminary commentary. Let me tell you something, motherfucker. Let this be the last motherfucking time that you come up in here asking me to get the fuck out of my bed to warm you up some food. So enjoy, bitch, because it's not happening again. Like this. So that might not be even helpful either. That ain't gonna be a good plate. Hi, Anna Yancy. That ain't gonna be a good plate. So there's also that. But I depending on the day, like don't wake me up from sleep. If I'm on the bike and I'm getting up, I'm going to the bathroom. The kitchen is close to the bathroom. That makes sense. If I'm on the bike and he's going to the kitchen, I'll ask him to get me some water. It's 2:00 in the morning. He's gotten up literally out of sleep I'll be like, I'm thirsty. Please. Please. So there's that. Right?
Will you be acting a little bit?
Of course. Help. Get me some water, please, and make it cold, please.
No, Gibran sleeps with me, so I'll be threatening Gibran. I'll be like, he's really hot. I think he needs some water.
I'm all like,
can you get me some too?
Me estoy asando. I'm like, oh my goodness. Right? So there's that. So it's like just really thinking about and again, being reflective. And he has the right to be like, Ev, that was some whack shit that you woke me up at 2:00 in the morning to ask me to get you some water. Like you was already awake. You was giggling I heard you giggling on something on Instagram. And you didn't want to get,
that's different because you're up. Like I'd be literally when you fall into that sleep that
like that would be, what? I'm sorry. You know what? Claudia's laughing over in the chat. Angela, right? Jay Barrera says, I am like that too. You can do it yourself, but because my husband comes from absolutely nothing and all of our stuff is digital, I help him. He never asked though. I sometimes hear him in the kitchen eating cold food and I turn over like I don't hear him. Y'all ever do this? This is how I do too. This is like when somebody wants to get like that middle of the night goodies and you'll be like, right? Not tonight, boo. So there's also that. So there's
So I wanna a whole lot of that. I wanna be cognizant of the time. We got 12 minutes and we had a question for Dear Janvieve.
Oh, that's right.
We had a question. I have it here.
All right.
What is Dear Janvieve?
I feel like we need intro music for Dear Janvieve. So if anybody has any ideas for intro music, send it to us at radiocañanegra@gmail.com to let us know what we should be doing. Janvieve, you ready? Wait, we need like a microphone. Wait, hold on. Let me get my phone at minimum. Let me get this hold on.
Something that there we go.
I have my mini microphone.
All right, go for it. Read the question.
So we have from Miss Cortez. Hello, I absolutely love your page. Thank you. I have always been curious about something and figured you may have some helpful insight. I'm Mexican, born in Mexico City. On my dad's side of the family, his mother's grandfather was a Black man from Cuba. Does that make me Afro-Latina or not? I've just always been genuinely curious and I don't want to mislabel myself and disrespect any part of my ancestry or others. So, what's your response?
Mother's grandfathers is Black.
A Black Cuban man.
Hold on. Mother's, I'm going to put here. Mother's grandfather is Black. I wish we had like a big
chart. We need a chart.
Not even that. This is not even that serious. Miss Cortez, you know, like in is it Jeopardy? No, it's not Jeopardy. It's not Jeopardy. It's Family Feud.
Right. Well, it's like this. This one, the Family Feud is white.
I want the big X. The big X across the screen. If your mother's grandfather is okay, let me tell you something. Pretend I'm a Black woman. Pretend, let's just pretend that my mother's grandfather is white.
Wait, hold on. So I got it. Your daddy's daddy, or your daddy's daddy
is white. Does that make me white? No, it does not.
Well, let me see. You might be white passing. Come closer to the screen, John. No, I know them Black people lips when I see it. So
that will not make me white. That will not make you Black. It does make you somebody that has Black It doesn't make you black. No. It does make you somebody that has black in you, but you don't get to claim blackness. No.
Well,
No.
that's the first thing that we say. Afro means black. If you can't call yourself black, you should be calling yourself Afro Latina.
No.
Right. Sorry.
And in which case, your great grandfather probably may be a white man. And what does that do for you? What is that white man doing for you?
Also, we talked about this in the very first podcast that we did, which is that there was a difference between negro and tiene de negro. Right? And so...
And, for those who may not know, there's a difference between being black and having African ancestry or having black ancestry.
And most people in the Americas, and the Americas is North, Central, and the Caribbean, most black people also have indigenous and also have white. And that doesn't make us indigenous, and that doesn't make us white. So white people that have a little bit, a little speck, or a little drop of black, that doesn't make you black.
Yes, Danny.
And also doesn't make you Afro-Latina.
Yes, Danny Lee. That's the extent of how we're commenting on her. She's not worth it. But
I'm like,
not at all.
All right. So that is the end of that. So this was a really basic, simple question. If you have more, different questions, other questions, love questions.
Ooh.
That would be good. And we are sold out, folk. We are sold out more like pretty much a month ahead of time. We sold out our workshop. Woohoo! We haven't played.
We need this on demand.
Exactly. So we are sold out from our workshops. We added another workshop series. It is because you all requested it. March 27th and March 26th and the 27th. 26th and March 27th. There is an early bird special. Please get it. Let me put the link over here as well.
And it's early bird. The code is early bird.
The code is early bird.
And get 10% off.
The what?
Join us.
And get 10% off.
You get 10% off until February 8th. So go ahead and do that soon. Share it with your friends because it's going to sell out again. We already have groups that want to get it. But the good thing is that we offer it to other groups. We are looking to organize for youth groups. So if you have 3 or 4 youth groups that want to partner together, let us know. We'll send you those packages so that they can get together.
Right.
We'll probably put together like a mini package for them. Because the youth, the youth are the truth and they're our future. So
bars. The youth are the truth. Yes, you're right. One time.
There's a song. Let me look for that song.
Wait. Yes, the youth are the truth. And so we definitely want to create opportunities for them to come and people that are also youth development professionals and educators to come and join in and get some strategies that they can take back to the classroom. What's really great is that all 3 of us have worked in schools. And so I think that having a specifically customized workshop for educators and youth development professionals it's going to be hype.
And also to add to that, we're offering 10% off of our Afro-Latino travel workshop on February 18th, 20th, and 21st. It's the same weekend as the Rayo Caña Negra workshop. You can do both. Well, not I mean, if you didn't get your ticket for Rayo Cañoneira's workshop, you can't. But we are doing our part 2 of our Black Latin American history and contemporary topics, Javier and I. And we have all the new flavor in your ear on centering Blackness in Latin America. And the 10% off code is Familia. So let me put that link in the chat.
Woo, woo. Put it in the chat. So don't forget, if y'all have any other questions, definitely for Ask Janvieve, who you see that she is a hard-hitting machetera, please send us an email to radiocañanegra@gmail.com, or you can also send, you can just send us a message on Facebook or Instagram and let us know what your question is. So shout out to the person that actually asked this first question. That's actually a really important and relevant question based on our work, right? And what it is that we do during the course of our workshops. Woo! Yay!
All right. And then we are going to be organizing some more lives and some podcasts. So stay tuned for the next few ones.
Yeah,
this was fun.
So much fun. And if you have anything that you want us to talk about.
Yes. What's it? Oh, you know what? I wish I would have kept that little egg box. The big egg.
The big egg. Eggs in Panama.
The eggs in Panama.
Let's see. Alicia Davis says, this was great. I always catch on YouTube. So happy to watch it live. Cheers to you, Alicia. Thank you so much for supporting. Shout out to our homie, Brittany. Brittany's always on the scene, so we are definitely on it. Advancing Arts Forward says, do you celebrate Valentine's Day? I do. Do y'all celebrate Valentine's Day? Dash says yes. Janvieve is like, whatever. Every day is Valentine's Day.
It's friend. No, you know what? I grew up celebrating Friendship Day. Aquí es Día de la Amistad. So in schools, we celebrated Día de la Amistad. But it wasn't like a big corporate thing. It was actual Friendship Day, and we used to make friendship bracelets, and it was like a nice, cute thing. And then suddenly it turned into this lovers fest. I don't understand when that happened.
Yeah, I absolutely love Valentine's Day. Y'all know that last year my partner got me a Peloton bike as a Valentine's Day gift, and then 2 days later, I got this really lovely ring. So I am definitely a fan, but I always loved it even when I wasn't partnered. So there was also that I loved it. I loved it even when, I loved it when I was single. I used to host brunch on Valentine's Day with all my friends, and I would be like, bring your date or bring yourself, and we would just kind of have fun and celebrate our friendship and each other, right? I always send my son, he's away at school, but last year I sent him a whole bunch of chocolate and all the things. So I just absolutely love any. I am cheesy. I wear a shirt with a sequined heart.
I wear pink or red. And my dad used to buy us chocolate and flour, like all of us. And so I as an adult, I give presents to my friends, my girlfriends.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Stay tuned. And you know what? Maybe we'll do a giveaway because I absolutely love I love Valentine's Day. I absolutely do. I love love, period. And because I know that it is I believe that it is fleeting and you got to appreciate it in all forms while you have it. So it is a way of just kind of being centered and being able to receive all of the love that is around me. So there's that. So maybe I'll do a giveaway on Radio Caña. Follow us on Instagram, and some lucky person will get a nice gift.
Shiny. I was saying that for your gift, it would have to be not on Valentine's Day because of the quarantine in Panama. So, I have hand delivered it in a box, a disinfected box, sanitary.
Clorox bleach or Clorox wipes on top of it, on top of the gift, so that way you could just be ring the bell and run.
or it could be some it could be something else. It could be gestures. It could be
No, I'm doing a special delivery. Don't tell me what to get you, okay? It's a special delivery on Valentine's Day. Okay? Receive the love. Receive the love.
All right, people. I must go put my little siblings to bed.
Have a good hugs, y'all. I'm like,
Black love. Oh, I like this, Flor. Oh, we're gonna
Black Love Friendship Partnership Challenge.
Yeah. You know, we have an artiste here. We have Flor Montero, who is
Flower of the Mountain.
A collaborating machetera.
Yes. Also, if anybody does anything and you need an interpreter, let us know, because we have a very tight squad of people that are doing some of this work with Radio Cañanera. And so, let us know so that we can connect you with some of our peoples that are popping in this work, so that and then we also get to continue to center Black women the way that we deserve to be centered, as per Claudia Copeland's comment. Also, Claudia, if you're still there, don't forget to send the music for the intro to Ask Janvieve.
Ask Janvieve, yeah.
I love it. That's exactly what it is. and on that note,
I think I have another chin hair growing because it's itchy. You know, it itches before it comes out.
Yes,
that's on the intro too. That's on the intro too.
Yes, the intro is the chin hair of the week.
And you have to pluck it. It should be that, a chin hair of the week, so we could pluck it. Pluck that shit.
Rock. All right, love you all.
Bye, y'all. Have a good night.
Everyone.
Take care. Bye.